Leone wants to strike out Hosmer to end it. Got him! The Giants, for the first time since 2012, are champions of the National League West.
So how are you? How have you been?
I'm good. How are you? Busy.
I'm good.
Very busy.
You said it was hard to schedule this. I'm glad we could schedule it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we got it on the books.
So you see what happened with Tiger Woods?
Oh, I did, man. It's just, it hurts, man. It hurts my heart because I think I'm like a lot of people. We want to see Tiger play again. We want to see him good.
Exactly. Not even good.
Yeah, I mean, really, like if he plays in a tournament, I'm locked in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna watch. I don't know. This latest thing, it's like a downward spiral. Continues to be rough event after rough event. And, I wish we could say that just about like his golf, but unfortunately it's all the personal stuff.
It always seems
tough to watch.
He would probably have won a couple more Masters if he didn't wreck his car. What was that, 2020? Was it 2020?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, he won in 2019, and then, yeah, I think he got in an accident in 2020. That started his whole, this long rehab process, and I don't know, man. It's just it stinks. It stinks. It's one of the greatest of all time, and we don't get to see him go out the way I guess we all wanted to as the public.
Yeah, I think that people want him to be back so bad. I don't think he was. He says I don't even think he confirmed that he was playing at the Masters, but
yeah, it's like he teased it. He teased it, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, he might play," and now we get this. It's tough.
All right, let's get to baseball. Got some good questions, I think.
Okay.
What is your stance on the ABS system? I know it's a common question, but
I got to use it a little bit. Let's see, that was 2023. They were testing it out in the minor leagues, and I spent the first month of that year in AAA with the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And look, it's a good system. I definitely think it adds an entire new strategy, a new outlook on pitching, outlook on the game. There's going to be a lot of stuff that they're going to have to iron out. You've seen it already, I guess, in spring training where they've been toying with it, and guys have and managers have kind of told players who can use it, who can't. As a pitcher, I would never do it. I would never use it personally. We're so biased. We think anything around the plate is a strike, so my thing is you put it in the hands of the catcher, you put it in the hands of the batter, and leave it at that. As a pitcher, I like when my strikes are called strikes and when balls are called balls, but there's definitely some human element to it that I like. Obviously, normal umpiring, but I do think this is the way the game's going, and it's not going anywhere. So if they can find a nice mesh between what I guess we'll call old school umpiring and the use of the ABS, kind of like they did with the replay system, then I think it'll be good for the game.
I was looking at umpire accuracy ratings, and people are complaining about how inaccurate they are lately. But if you were to look back when they first started tracking the called strikes and whether that was right or wrong in 2008, I believe, they were at like an 84% correct call rate. Now they're at like 93. So people complaining about that. I think ABS is a good thing, but
and to be honest with you, I think like you said, back when they started tracking it, you gotta think about where technology has gone. Every TV broadcast now has the simulated strike zone box on the TV, but how accurate are those? How accurate is each? From an ESPN broadcast to a Apple broadcast to a Netflix broadcast, whatever these services are, and wherever the game is being broadcast, how accurate are those strike zones? You don't know. And then, of course, as the general fan, you watch and you go, oh my gosh, the ball was right in the dead heart of the zone, and he called it a ball. and it might not be as accurate as you see it or as you perceive it as the fan. So I think you got to keep that in mind when you're going to complain. Look, umpiring is hard,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
like you said, the fact that those guys can track pitches 101, 102, 103, make like accurate calls within inches is pretty good. And again, the human element of things, you're going to have error.
Yeah.
You're going to have error, but um, I'll say this. I mean, I got to tip my cap to some of the umpires that really, they work on it. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like a craft, and I tip my cap to those guys. Those guys make the game a lot better.
Yeah, and my stance on it, if a pitch is like half an inch outside the zone, maybe less than that, you can't blame the umpire for that. You really can't.
Right.
And if
Right. I'm telling you,
as the
especially when it's moving, 23 inches across the plate or,
Yep.
coming in at 102, it's like you stand back there. And by the way, you're begging that the catcher catches it. Cause
Yeah.
if he doesn't, you're getting squared up with 102. Like
Yeah.
that's no fun.
Could you imagine catching for Tim Wakefield with the knuckleball going everywhere?
Oh man. You know what? I would have loved it though. I would
Mm.
have loved that challenge. It's funny you said you bring up Wake because I grew up a Red Sox fan, obviously, and Wakefield was like, other than Pedro, right? Of course, you go out in the backyard and you try and emulate Pedro first, but then you're like, well, wait, I want to throw the knuckleball, and so
Yeah.
you get out there and you're trying to throw a knuckleball like Wake, man. It's
And like go straight in the
you know,
air and like just you throw it on the ground.
yeah, yeah. It's R.I.P. man. Rest in peace to Wake. I mean, that was
Mm.
like a very unexpected and devastating loss to every kid in the Northeast who was a Red Sox fan. You didn't realize the impact until he's obviously gone.
Yeah.
So
Him and his wife, which is crazy.
I know, insane.
That's
I know,
awful.
it's crazy. Crazy.
Talking about the ABS system, I imagine it's hard as a pitcher to challenge a pitch if it's going to be close because of how good the catchers are. You're going to think it's a strike and it's not. And I've actually seen this in spring training. The pitcher challenges and the catcher's like, "Oh, come on. No, this wasn't a strike."
See, that's what I'm saying. It's like, from a pitcher standpoint, and again, I'll just admit, like our bias is that everything we throw is a strike,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's blatantly a ball. But like if it's relatively close, we want those strikes. I mean, it's hard. These hitters are, really good. We need every, bit of help we can get, and so that's why I said earlier, it's like, if I'm a pitcher, I'm taking the ability to make that challenge call. I'm taking that out of their hands.
Right.
Leave it to the catchers, the guys that are back there that know the zone. They know the umpire. They've got an idea of, kind of where they need to be in terms of setting up and
Mm-hmm.
getting strikes.
Did you see that? I think it was the Rays. They were using a green and red card system to let the batter know if they were able to challenge or not.
Yeah. So again, that goes back to like my point of there's a lot of things that they're going to have to toy with and make adjustments to. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like if you have the video in the dugout or in the, I mean, it's just like a challenge system, the replay system. It's like whenever there's a replay challenge, the video guy inside that's locked in the video room phone calls to the dugout and they talk about it. Well, I guess this is the same thing. It's like, well, hey, that pitch was a strike. How do you relay it to the player on field? Again, they're going to have to make some rules, make some adjustments, because teams and organizations are going to try and do everything they can to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think that they should be able to. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I don't have to deal with it. There's probably, well, I wouldn't think that there's a huge advantage to it, but letting the manager know the player, all right, like for example, Cedar Rafael on the Red Sox right now.
Yeah,
he's great. He swings at everything though. You probably don't want him challenging pitches that he thinks is a ball because it's probably not a ball. Did you ever get used to the business side of baseball?
I don't know that getting used to it would be the right word, but I was made aware of it. I
Yeah.
was made aware of it very early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You start to understand obviously the business side of things and how rosters are, you know, selected and how timing fits into it all and how contracts I mean it's a look, it's just like anything else. It
Mm-hmm.
is a business, and you have you know, your boss, and your boss can choose to do whatever he wants whenever he chooses to do it. So um, yeah, that was part of the game that I'll be honest, early on, um, when I kind of got hit with the reality of the business, it sucked some of the fun out of the game for me.
Yeah.
Um, I was able to, you know, bypass that and you know, obviously continue my career and you know, have a good time doing it. But you know, you acknowledge that there's a lot of things out there that you can't control,
Right.
especially from the business part.
If it almost feels like you're getting like stabbed in the back, but like you have to realize this is what it is, you know?
Yeah, and again, it's, you know, how um, you know, how these decisions are made.
Right.
Again, just like everything else, you can, you know, you can get optioned down after um, you know, a month from the big leagues, right? Say you're a player and you're up in the big leagues and you have some good success and you get optioned down, and it's like, okay, well, for what reason? I had good stats, I had this, I had that. Well, I mean, especially as a reliever, it's like, well, hey, you've thrown a lot in this month, and we need a fresh arm. And
Makes sense.
so, boom, like, right, in theory,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. It's like, well, but wait, why am I losing my job because I've done a good job? You know, and I don't have control over when I get put in games.
Right.
Um, you know, just because they threw me in a lot of games, you know, five, you know, 4 out of 5, 6 out of 7, whatever it may be, and they need a fresh arm. Well, why do I get penalized for that?
How did you
Right?
like that? The when you're in the bullpen waiting and you hear the phone ring. Like
Yeah.
did you get tense when you hear the phone ring? Like
Initially, like my rookie year, I would get a little tense, get a little nervous, but you start to, you know, you get used to it.
yeah.
You get used to it. It's an adrenaline rush for
Yeah.
sure.
I would imagine. I
Um,
mean, you're going to
yeah,
you're a rookie. Oh, geez. I actually have to go do this.
yeah, exactly. No, it's fun though. It's a nice wake up call. You know, because sometimes you can just be out there and you know, you're following the game. You're not really, you know, maybe engaged as much as you need to be. But then as soon as that first phone call rings, you're like, oh man, you lock in.
Nice. I get to go. But
Yeah,
you're probably
yeah.
really nervous at the first, but yeah, I couldn't imagine. That sounds uh,
It's fun, man. It's like like I said, it's just a big adrenaline rush that you know, it kind of sparks you, kind of gets you going.
yeah. Do you have a favorite organization you played for?
I don't know that I would be able to pick out one in particular because I had good moments and bad moments in every
Mhm.
organization that I was with. You know, if you're going to look at recency bias, like I loved my time with the Giants,
Right.
2021, 2022. I had good seasons. The organization itself was really good, really well put together. They took care of guys. Um, you know, they really do a good job of taking care of the player and his family and making sure that you don't have any extra stress outside of the ballpark,
Right.
right? Like the game is hard enough,
Mhm.
and the staff, the organization there in San Fran, um, really catered to the outside stuff and made sure that all you had to do was show up and do your best on the field.
Yeah. I imagine
Um,
that that's a fact that a lot of people don't think about. Like make things easy as possible off the field, so you don't that's just another stressor you don't have to deal with.
yeah, I mean, you know, because that's the other thing is people think like, okay, you're in the big leagues, you know, you live in a 10,000 square foot house and you know you've got all the money in the world, and it's like no, for some guys, yes.
Right.
For some, you know, for some that have the mega deals and the big contracts, yeah. But like for the majority of the league, you've got a lot of things going on. You know, guys might be staying in like I'll give you an example. So my 2021 year with the Giants, I get called up June 1st, and so signing a lease in San Francisco for a short-term lease is like not even a thing. It doesn't even exist.
Right.
So my wife and I lived in a hotel with our newborn, um, and like so the grind of that, like trying to raise our first child in a very um, stressful environment while also I'm working and doing a stressful job, and it's just like that type of stuff people don't realize.
Yeah.
It's I'm not you know I'm not crying, boo-hoo, oh, like, baseball players are poor and we need, more help. But it's just simply like there are a lot of other factors that go into playing at that level. And again, the business side of that level that you have to kind of keep in mind, or, the general fan doesn't get those details.
Right.
So,
You guys make all of your money in like some people they're like, oh my god, you're never gonna have to think about money again. Some people don't, like Shohei Ohtani, he's good.
right.
You make
Yeah.
all your money in 10, 15 years, maybe. That's like 10 years, good.
Yeah.
And you got to stretch it out if that's when you want to retire. You have to stretch that out. People don't.
Hmm.
They're like, oh yeah, I only make like 75,000 a year, but like, you make all of it at once, and you just gotta, you know what I mean? People don't
Yeah.
think of that.
Right. And the other thing is, obviously people see these big contracts, and obviously they go, oh my gosh, I'll never have to work again. And to a certain extent, right, like you said, the Shoheis of the world, you're right. I mean, there's a reason why Shohei negotiated the contract that he did. He's making more money off the field in endorsements and things like that than he is on
Mm-hmm.
field, because he doesn't need it.
Right.
But for the Joe Schmo like myself,
I
even
would
though
I
I
wouldn't
spent,
say that, but
I mean, even though I spent, I spent time in the big leagues for, the last decade.
mm-hmm.
Um, you know, again, I'm not crying poor, but like there's a different way of life. You have to be smart. You have to be good with your money. You have to be good with everything, because um, what you sign for is not what you get.
Right.
The public sees Joe Schmo signs for $1 million, and they go, he's a millionaire. Well, let's go back to those things, the things that they don't see,
Mm-hmm.
right? Federal taxes is about 40 something percent. Then you get state income tax, for whatever city and state you're playing in, and then you have to pay tax in every state that you go and travel to. You gotta get housing. You gotta get separate housing for spring training. You've gotta, any sort of other, family travel or stuff like that. Like there are a lot of expenses over the course of a season, um, and that are just necessary. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even it's not even like you're going out and buying Lamborghinis,
Right.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you've got to be able to live. So there's a lot that goes into it. And yes, I would highly recommend that any young guy, if any rookie or young guy coming up is listening to this, it's like make sure you are financially responsible. The pay, even though you're getting paid really well as a rookie now, 700 plus thousand
Mm-hmm.
rookie deal. Be smart, because it's it's tough when you come up from the minor leagues and you're making nothing,
Right. Yeah. I saw
and then
that.
and
It's
then you
crazy.
right, and then you crack the roster and you're like, oh my god, my pay jumps major, like big time, right? Be smart. Just handle it properly, because one way or the other, it's going to come out of your paycheck, and hopefully you don't live above your means.
Do the teams have like financial advisors and stuff like that?
They don't necessarily employ financial advisors. Pretty much everybody that has an agent, or is signed with an agency, the agents and agencies have financial advisors, and that those are the people that typically negotiate the contracts and do all that stuff in the background, anyways. And so they have an idea, um, they have the resources to set guys up with people that'll help them.
Right. Yeah. Were there any like feature benefits with being in the MLB that like many people won't know about, like not secrets, but
Um, I mean, like travel, and this is kind of basic. I mean, like travel, you're not flying commercial. Every flight is chartered. Typically, every plane is, or the majority of the planes in the big leagues, are all first class seats. Some are, some organizations just have more of a budget to get nicer accommodations. Um, it's required by MLB policy, like league wide policy, that you have to stay in a four or 5 star hotel everywhere you go, every time you travel. Um, I mean, I'm trying to think, like those aren't really like big secrets, but it's just like those are kind of standard practices that like people don't think of.
yeah.
Like I mean, that's the other thing too. It's like, you play a 3 game series over the weekend. It's not like you get 3 or 4 days to then recoup. You're literally flying out after that last game on, say it's Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Sunday at 1 o'clock, you play. You play till 4 o'clock. You basically have an hour to eat, change, pack your stuff, and then you're on the bus to the airport, and boom, you're out. Right after that. So, um, I don't know. I'll if something else pops up over the course of the interview, I'll mention it. But like,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, mostly it's just like
It was kind of a
little
loaded
stuff like that.
question. Like, oh yeah,
No,
is
yeah,
there anything that you can tell me that you probably haven't thought of
yeah,
ever?
yeah, no, yeah. I'll think on it more. But there's really not a whole lot of secrets. It's more or
Yeah.
less just like, like I said, the business side of things that a lot of people don't see.
So I saw that you got into the sports card game.
Yeah, so I was big, growing up a 90s kid, I was big into it early on, sports cards, Pokemon cards,
Hmm.
which are making a humongous comeback. And then, yeah, I got back into it, let's see, about 5 years ago now. Um, Evan Longoria was my teammate in San Fran, and he was big into it. And we just started kind of talking, through some stuff, and he was showing me his collections. And um, it just kind of sparked my interest again. So I got back into it, and now I'm pretty heavy into it right now.
So what happened with your Tom Brady card? I didn't watch the full videos of
Oh,
those,
here you
but
go. I got it right here.
oh
I'll
nice.
I'll do an interview, exclusive with you. So I sent out the 2000 Bowman Tom Brady rookie card is like one of his most popular, one of his most sought after. And so I came across one probably 4 years ago. Um, I bought it, and it was through the company Arena Club. And Arena Club, I believe, was started by Derek Jeter, or Derek Jeter's an investor in it. Anyways, it's like another grading service. They do a lot of card stuff, um, and I think it's a great company.
Hmm.
Now their grades are not as um, sought after as like PSA
Hmm.
or like Beckett. So I said, I'm going to take my Tom Brady. It was an Arena Club 10, graded a 10, which is the best you
Perfect.
can do,
Yeah.
obviously, right? Um, and so I cracked it, made sure the card was good, and I submitted it to PSA, because the difference, I guess you want to say, the difference in value of an Arena Club 10 versus like a PSA 10, people can
Right.
look it up. It's a lot of money.
Hmm.
So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna take a chance. Um, so I got it back, and I'm looking at this card. I'm looking at this card, and I'm like, it's clean. The surface looks clean. Yeah, there might be a little centering issue, but the corners are nice and sharp. Like all these things that like the graders, they look at.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, it's going to be a 9 at worst.
Right.
And I got it back, and I got an 8. Let me see if I can get it there.
Well,
I got it.
So
PSA 8.
my
Now, again,
question is,
yeah,
does that the last one you said it was a 10?
yeah.
Is an 8? Is it equivalent? Like, will it be worth just the same?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, yeah, no. So
Okay.
like a PSA 8 is significantly less than I believe what an Arena Club 10
Oh,
could still even sell for.
okay. Well, I've
Um,
seen people break them again and then send them in again, and then they get a
yeah,
10.
so that's and that's where okay, we want to talk about like ABS and like umpiring and stuff. Same thing in trading cards. It's like PSA, they have the technology, I believe, like the AI technology to like in cameras and things to grade stuff, but they still do it. Obviously, individuals get your card. They sit down, they're assessed, they look at it, and they give a grade. And so the joke is like, you send in like $100 with your card and
Yeah.
and like buy the guy lunch, like
Hmm.
whatever. But yeah, so there's a human element to it, and I don't know. I mean, it just depends on who's grading that day, I guess, and whatnot. There's been a lot of controversy, I should say, within the grading system over the last even couple months.
Yeah.
A lot of people doing that. Like they'll get a bad grade or a grade they didn't want, they'll crack it and they'll resend it, and then they'll get a completely different grade, or they'll
Hmm.
send it to a different company, get a different grade. Like there are multiple YouTube videos out there now where people are doing that with the same card and getting like 9, 10 different grades. It's wild.
I was interested in getting. I was just looking at it. I don't have anything really to get graded, but
Yeah.
there's insurance you can buy with it, right?
Yep. Yep.
Is that
Everything you
legit?
send out. Yeah. Everything you send out is insured. Especially if you have a high value
Right.
card. You got to make sure that obviously it gets there. Then also it's taken care of. If it is lost or stolen or whatever, there is you can take out insurance on it.
So on your Instagram, which we'll get to that later, because you just
Okay.
I saw that you started coaching like
Yeah.
2 years ago, right? Is that right?
Well, yes, officially coaching on a team um, this past January, and but right when I retired, I started training kids at a local facility here. So more just kind of like generic baseball pitching training. But now I'm actually coaching, yeah, full time for a high school here in the area. Um, so it's been good. It's good.
A lot of people struggle with velocity. How did you? I know you said this, and I watched previous interviews to make sure I don't ask the same questions and stuff. I don't want
Yeah,
to, you know what I mean. How did you
yeah,
gain so much velocity, not being like 6'4" or old as Chapman? You know what I mean?
yeah. I don't. I threw. Like I'm old school in that way. Like I gain velocity by throwing.
Right.
And you can't, in my opinion, you can't throw hard if you don't throw hard. You know what I'm saying? Like with high intent. Um, Nowadays, there's so many different things that kids do, and plyo balls and other exercises of which like they're good. They don't necessarily translate directly to velocity, but it's one of those things that like if you stick with it, if you play catch, if you throw and you throw with good intent, you have clean mechanics. Um, that's where I think I gained the most velocity because again, I wasn't a big dude.
Right.
Um, I made sure that all the little muscles in the shoulders and the arms were strong, and then I really focused on just proper mechanics, understanding my body and how my body moves, and I was able to just generate as much efficient energy as I could.
Yeah. You know how there's off-field activities in the MLB? I'm wondering how much that actually affects their careers. Like overall, if they're just not serious about it, it shortens their career by like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I found that, and I can only speak from my experience. Obviously, I found that I had to be fully 100% obsessed like dialed in to, um, like the grind,
Mm-hmm.
the little things, because I wasn't physically stronger, bigger, faster than a lot of people that were in the league. I had to do something to stay relevant. And um, being a Boston fan, it was easy, like watching a guy like Tom Brady and knowing his story. And it's like Tom became the GOAT because, not because he was the biggest, fastest, strongest, whatever, but because he just outworked everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I really took that to heart, where I was just obsessed every day, in and out, to try and get better.
These daytime talk shows about sports, and they're like, "Oh yeah, so and so was at the casino till 4 in the morning. He's playing today, but actually he's not. He's benched. I wonder
Yeah,
why."
yeah, right. I mean, look, there's an element to that type of stuff, but at the same time, it's if you know how to handle yourself and control, the outside world, you'll be all right.
Did you have a special pregame routine?
Uh, it's not special, but it was pretty. I wouldn't say superstitious, but it was like I had it down to a T. I knew like exactly at what time I was going to go hit the hot tub, at what time I was going to crack a Red Bull, at what time I was going to get stretched, at what time I was going to, take my Advil if I needed it, or like I had it. I had a routine all the way down, and then it was like I knew when I was tying my shoes. Like I had all of that stuff kind of structured, and I did that pretty much the same way for my entire career.
I think goalies in hockey and pitchers as a whole are pretty similar that way. Like
Yeah.
one of my friends, he was a goalie and I played hockey growing up. I'd always mess with him because he had a routine. He needed to follow it, or he would have to start the entire thing over again.
Oh no.
I would mess with
Yeah,
him all the time.
I've seen guys like that. Luckily, like I said, I had it structured out. But like if I walked into the hot tub room and the hot tub was full, like it's not going to throw me off completely. I'm like, all right, I'll just we'll kind of bob and weave here. But there were definitely guys that were like, oh yeah, if they didn't have their sandwich by 5:53, and it wasn't on white bread versus wheat bread, like it was funny,
Seems
pretty
hard
funny.
to not hard to be around, but like you gotta watch out. Like what's his name? Scherzer.
Oh yeah,
He's
I
walking through the
look.
dugout and everybody avoids him.
Well, look, yeah. So I played with Max in 2023 with the Mets, and one of the greatest dudes, like fantastic teammate, fantastic guy. But on start day, you don't mess with Max.
Right.
Like on start day, he's got these big headphones. He sits down in his locker, and he's dialed, right?
Yeah.
And you just, unless he talks to you,
You avoid him.
don't talk to him, right? Just let him do his thing. And I remember I was like two or three lockers down from Max, in the Mets locker room, and I remember I was sitting there before a start for him, and I'm just sitting there on my phone, and I'm just kind of scrolling, and I just looked over, and Max is like looking at me, and he's got his eye, and he's like looking at me, and I'm like, oh crap, like did I do something wrong? And he pops like a headphone off, and he was like, "Hey, Dom," and I don't even remember what he asked me, but he asked me some question, and I was like, yeah, yeah, well, like had a conversation with him. Everything
Mm-hmm.
was good. He popped his headphone back on and was like back to locked in. But I was like, whew, dodged a bullet
I feel
there.
like I almost just got
Like,
killed. What the heck?
yeah, no, I know he's intense, man. But that's why he's so good. That's why he's a future Hall of Famer.
Definitely. I liked his coin flip. Didn't he get fined for that? Did you see that?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure he
That
did.
was so
I'm sure
funny.
he
Why
did.
did they take it too serious?
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you just gotta let the kids have fun.
Exactly. Um, when you were up 2-0, what is your go-to pitch? Would it be yeah, you take it away.
When I'm ahead 0-2, or when I'm down 2-0?
That's what I meant. You got that, yeah.
Down, yeah, down 2-0.
Yeah.
I'll give you an answer for both. So down 2-0, especially nowadays, um, it's almost it's almost impossible to throw a fastball in that count. Back in the day, yeah, I'd let that thing eat. It'd be a fastball. Here you go. 2-0 for me was always a cutter. It was always cutter because hitter sees fastball,
Mm-hmm.
hitter sees fastball, and then it breaks, 5-8 inches outside. I miss the barrel. I probably get a weak contact swing, or a swing and miss, and then I'm right back in the count. 0-2, it really depends on the batter. 0-2 though, and maybe this is why my career ended earlier than it should have, but 0-2, I was going with my fastball.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't a 102 guy, I really had a lot of confidence in my fastball and would like to try and throw it in any count. And nowadays, analytics and things, people told me like, "Hey, don't throw your fastball as much," and I'm like, "That's not fun."
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it eat,
I
man.
want to make him look stupid.
Yeah, I've still got good velocity. I still got 96 in the tank, 97 in the tank. So I'm like, I'm gonna let this eat.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out sometimes, but obviously, like later on in my career, not so much because guys were just hitters are good, man.
How'd you deal with the hecklers on the mound? Like, could you hear everything people were saying, or was it just kind of a loud hum of people?
Certain games I could definitely hear. Like I remember being with the Diamondbacks in 2015. I had just gotten traded there, and early on in my career, and the Diamondbacks were not very good.
Mm.
There were not a lot of fans at the stadium, so there wasn't a lot of noise. And I remember getting heckled by Diamondbacks fans while pitching for the Diamondbacks, and I was like, oh gosh, this is brutal. But I mean, look, I wish I could say I pitched well. I didn't, so I don't blame them. They were an upset fan base at the time, and that's no fun. But I liked the heckling. I thought it was fun. Most of the time you can't hear the specifics.
Mm-hmm.
I did have one really good chirp by a guy in Philly. Philly is probably the worst.
Really?
I was warming up. Yeah, so the bullpens in Philly are double decked. The home
Mm-hmm.
team is on the bottom. The away team's at the top, and right, like aligning the whole bullpen
Yeah, they can look in,
wall,
right?
they can look in. Yeah, they got fans and stuff. So I remember I was coming into a game. I was with the Giants. I was coming into a game in the ninth inning. I had to face Schwarber, Harper, and I think Bryson Stott or something at the time. And I'm coming into a 3-3 game in the ninth, and I start warming up, and it's a hot, hot day. And some Philly guy looks over the thing. He said, "Hey, Leone, you look like you sweat garlic." And I just looked up. I looked up and I started laughing, man. It was like, I thought it was one of the best, most unique chirps. Our bullpen coach at the time is actually now the manager of the Orioles, Craig Alvernaz. He's a Fall River guy. He's a Fall River Mass guy, and um, he started laughing. He started laughing so hard. We both were chuckling, and it was kind of funny because it just kind of took the edge off a little bit.
That's what it should be. It shouldn't be like mean spirit. It's just a joke, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, all that type of stuff can be lighthearted and fun and whatever. But I will say, I've definitely heard some stuff that is way across the line. Like anytime you start to threaten people, and threaten families and just be like obnoxious and terrible to people, it's like, come on, man. Like we're playing a game,
Yeah.
right? Like we're human.
Yeah, like Cattell Marte when they talked about his mom. That's
Yeah,
awful.
I mean, it's like, bro, if you're gonna be mad at me and you're trying to get under my skin, leave it to stuff that's on field, right? Don't bring my family, my loved ones, people. Like, don't bring that stuff,
Right.
because now you're just crossing the line, and now it's like, if you said that to a random guy on the street,
He'd punch you right in the face.
yeah, exactly, you're getting clocked. So, just because you have the protection of being in the stands and I'm on the field,
And they feel
doesn't make it
invincible
right.
because, like, they know you're probably not going to do anything.
Well, right. I
Yeah,
mean, it looks worse for us. Like, for what am I going to do? I'm going to run our test and jump into the stands and start beating up some fans? Like,
right.
no. Like, you have to understand the repercussions of what your actions may be. So yeah, in that sense, we're a little bit defenseless, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man, like grow up, you know?
Right. How was it dealing with? I don't know how often you had to deal with this, or if anybody really has to deal with this often face to face. The fans who like act like they know who you are, like they oh yeah oh, like it. It must be not saying that that's a bad thing to do. You can't do that or anything, but it just must be an awkward feeling when they act like they know everything about you, and you don't know who they are.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you learn to just shrug it off,
Yeah.
because again, you don't know what people's agendas are. Um, and I hate to say that because I do feel bad for the true fan who just like studies the game and loves the game and just like knows a lot about their favorite players. um, we would run into a lot of people, obviously outside of the stadium.
Yeah.
You're at the hotels and people see you and they recognize you're with a big group. And now I never had to deal with that much because I was kind of like I said, I was a reliever, small name reliever. And but I saw, yeah, where guys, it's an awkward position to be in where somebody comes up and they're like, you know, drooling over you, or oh, I know this and that, and oh my god, at that point, guys are just like, hey, respectfully, hey, good, nice to meet you, good to see you, I'm gonna go do something else, or whatever, and basically leave me alone.
Yeah. Like different example completely, but I saw this video recently. Some fan walks up to John Cena, turns around, starts filming a video, and then he gets up like so disgusted, introduces himself like, "Hi, my name's John. I don't
Yeah,
appreciate what you're doing here. I'm just trying to relax. Can you leave me
right.
alone?" It's
Yeah.
it's it's dehumanizing, I would think.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, just because you're famous, and I get it, I understand. People want, they want to be a part of it. They want, a little bit of the glory, to say, hey, I met so and so or whatever. But again, understand the situation. You can't just go up and invade somebody's, privacy and just, oh, hey, yeah, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
want a picture, if you want a picture, come up and ask, or ask security, or ask whoever, and but then also, like, understand there's a good chance you could get denied, and it's not because that person's an asshole or a jerk. It's just, hey man, they might be going through something. They don't, hey, they don't have time for it, blah blah, blah, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then it ruins their
It's not
reputation. Like, oh yeah, I met
right,
so and so, and they were so mean to me. Like,
right,
I went to Fenway Fest a couple years ago, and I
yeah,
see Brock Holt walking by. I loved watching him play, but I see that he's with his family, so I don't say anything. And there's people behind me. They like, oh my god, like it was some lady and her son, and she's like, oh
yeah,
my god, go get an autograph. And he just kind of shrugged him off because I mean, he's with his family. He's trying to
yeah,
get to because it was like for a signing event. You get to go explore yourself. It was pretty cool.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, nice.
but
Yeah, like I said, exactly. You were right in that scenario where it's like, the guy's with his family. If you politely ask, okay, that's one thing.
right.
But like, again, you can't expect really a guy with his family walking around that, he's gonna, oh yeah, sure, let me just,
Yeah.
drop everything and sign your 50 baseball cards.
And you can tell by body language. Like he was on a mission. He wasn't just
Yeah,
strolling around. He was walking towards somewhere. I don't know where,
right,
but
right. Had somewhere to be. Yeah, just like anybody else.
yeah. Um, did you ever get starstruck when you were pitching?
Surprisingly, no.
Really?
Um, yeah, I never did. Um, I, again, I maybe I just had, I just had the mindset that, um, I belonged, right? That I was in the same class and same tier as these guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm from a baseball standpoint, I'm not in the same tier as Trout or Big Poppy or Derek Jeter or whatever, but like, um, I was in the same league,
Yeah.
so I had an opportunity to compete. And so if I let anything outside of competition kind of rile me up, then there's a good chance I'm going to fail.
Right.
So I really did my best to try and not be starstruck or really, be over amped when I saw certain players. I mean, like the closest one for me was it was like Big Papi, um, getting to face him, and then obviously Jeter. But again, I really had to just control my emotions and just go, hey, like, this isn't like a video game. Like this is real life, and my job now depends on getting that guy out, and I know how good he is. So it's like we gotta go do my job.
I imagine it was at first it was probably hard, but I imagine it got easier. You have the switch in your head. They're no longer your idols. They're just competition. They're really good, really, 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 really good competition.
Yeah. And I mean, I still idolized what they had done. But now it's like it turns a whole new page when it's like, okay, well, now in order to feed my family, I've got to get this guy out. So like let's you can ask him for his jersey after the game, but like right now, let's get him out.
Strike him out, please.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is something I don't know. Phantom injuries are often talked about subject.
Okay.
How often does that really happen? That many people don't really. Oh yeah, like someone got hurt to put on 30-day IL. How much times does that happen that nobody's actually hurt? They're just trying to clear space for the roster.
That's a great question. It happens. It happens. It doesn't happen often, but there are definitely times, and there's strategic ways for organizations to do it as well. It's not like it's illegal,
right.
In certain degrees, but there are times where it's like, hey, if if we really need another guy to come up, and we need a healthy body, and there's somebody that's like struggling, in a big time slump. I wouldn't put it past the team to say like, okay, hey, we're going to put you on the 10-day IL with an ankle injury.
Right. Yeah.
Give you a breather, give you a break. Because again, there's roster rules and things. Some guys might not have the ability to get optioned down to go work on stuff. If you option them, they get released. So it's like, well, we want to keep the player, but we don't want to, we can't release him. We can't option him. So there's little nuances like that. In the sense of like guys like faking injuries and like taking time off like that, I never saw that.
I can think of one.
Okay, what do you got?
Oh my God, I just had his name in my head. Plays for the Angels. I have to look it up now.
Plays for the Angels? Currently plays for the Angels?
I think, unless he retired. He grabbed a fan by the collar.
Rendon?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody makes that joke that he's just faking the injury and stuff.
I know, and I was with him. I was with him in 2023 in Anaheim, just for a couple months. Look, I don't have the right to disclose any of his medical information, but I saw him in there, and he was constantly trying to get back on the field. So I like Anthony. He's a really good guy. Again, he gets a ton of shit. He knows it. I know it. Everybody in the world knows it. He gets a ton of shit, and unfortunately, that contract has not gone well for the Angels and for him. But I'd be an idiot and I'd be stupid to say that he didn't care and that he wasn't trying to get out there and
right.
I don't
think there's anybody in the MLB that doesn't want to get out there. That you want to do what you've been doing your entire life.
Right. Right.
People like, even I know Bryce Harper got a bad reputation a couple years ago, but when you hear one narrative for such a long time, you kind of want to. It makes you question whether that's just something that is spread because everybody's saying it, or it's true.
Right.
It's probably not true.
Right.
What's your prediction on the Masters?
Oh boy, it's hard to say that Scotty Scheffler's not going to finish in the top 3, right? I don't know, man. I'll be interested to see who comes out firing. I would love to see, uh, kind of an old school name. I'd love to see like a Justin Thomas be in contention.
That would be
I'd
cool.
love, I'd love to see, I like Scotty. I'd like to see Scotty obviously in contention. Bold prediction. I don't think, maybe not so bold. I don't think Rory, goes back to back. I don't know that Rory will necessarily play great now that he's kind of got it and
Right.
he's got it done. I don't know. I'd be pumped to see somebody new, fresh face, or like I said, a guy from like that like Justin Thomas era make a run at it.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to one of my friends earlier, and he said, it'd be the funniest thing ever if Rory McIlroy had to put the green jacket on Bryson DeChambeau.
Oh, yeah,
That'd be awesome.
yeah,
That would be
yeah.
so cool.
Well, that's I don't know. Is Koepka playing as well? Or is he not eligible?
I'm not honestly sure, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty
because
sure DeChambeau's playing.
I know he was reinstated,
Mm-hmm.
right? Had to pay all these fines and do all this stuff, right? Crazy if Koepka just shows up and blows the doors off of the Masters.
If you're on Live or PGA, I think you can play in the Masters.
Yeah, I think especially as a former champion,
mm-hmm.
Obviously not of the Masters, but of U.S. Opens and majors. I know. I think you have exemptions, but yeah, that would be another one that would be interesting to see if Brooks could come back and make a push.
Yeah.
Who do you have? Who do you got winning?
I love Colin Morikawa. He's probably one of my favorites. I don't think he's gonna win.
Yeah.
He's got a better shot than Brooks Koepka.
Most.
He's got a better shot than him, but
okay, yeah.
It's definitely an easy guess, but I think Scottie Scheffler's gonna win. I mean,
yeah.
He's just too good, and he's so consistent.
He is.
Whenever I'm watching it, my friends are always like, "Oh my God, he's not doing great," and I was like, "He always does this. He does the exact same every single day, and then by the Sunday, he's in the lead because everybody else chokes on Saturday."
Right, and then if he's not, it's like his Sunday. There's always a push by Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
You'll all of a sudden see his name start flying at the leaderboard on Sunday, and you're like, "Oh my God, he might actually do it."
He has a lot.
Yeah.
Back to baseball.
Sure.
Not an interesting question. A kind of interesting question. What was the loudest stadium? Like best stadium atmosphere.
Best stadium atmosphere. I'm biased a little bit because my first time ever playing in Fenway was amazing. Like it's dream quality. It wasn't like a big moment. It wasn't a big game. It wasn't a big, anything. I was a rookie with the Mariners, and but I still remember the vibe. It was obviously, it was the eighth inning. Sweet Caroline was playing, and I ran out of the bullpen, and I tried just not to fall. I was like, "Don't trip.
Don't roll my ankle."
Yeah, don't roll my ankle. Don't trip. Having been a fan, watching hundreds of Red Sox games and going to Red Sox games as a kid and living that moment in the stands to now live it on the field was pretty insane.
Did you have a walkout song?
Not in Boston.
No. No, I mean no. In like
but in general, yes.
Yeah.
I had a couple over my career. I had the two that are most notable were what was my one in 2017 with the Blue Jays? I did Split by Tiesto, and then basically 2021 till the end of my career, I did Fight for Your Right by
That's a good one.
Beastie Boys. Yeah, it was sick.
Good one.
And then, so overall vibe, I mean, loudest stadium, I'll say this, 2014 Kansas City. So this is when they were really good. Obviously, went to the World Series in 15.
Mm-hmm.
They were, and I believe lost in the World Series in 14. Yeah. They were, that stadium was loud.
Yeah. Is
Loud.
it I can't picture it. Is it surrounded completely?
Yes, kind of. So they have the big giant scoreboard in center
Oh,
field.
yeah,
They've
yeah.
got the
Yep.
fountains. They got the fountains in the water, and the water out in the gaps. But no, like just the I don't know. It's the way their stadium's set up. The fans they're wild. A lot of fun. A lot of fun to play there, especially when they were really good. It was probably one of the loudest environments.
Um, Speaking of environments, what fan base do you think? I know it's hard to tell when you're going throughout the country.
Yeah.
They didn't. They weren't mean for no reason. Like they knew what they were talking about. Where was that most prevalent in the like throughout the United States?
So like harshest fans, but like
Truthful. Like they know a lot about
truthful.
baseball, but they're not mean for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a great question, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, that's a really good one. Um,
We can come back to it if you can't think of it.
yeah, let's come back to it, because I'm rattling off the ones where you get heckled the most. I mean, obviously, like, you know, Fenway, Wrigley, Yankee Stadium, Philly. Um, you're getting heckled.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me. So I never got harsh criticism, but because I was a home player there. But St. Louis fans are truly like baseball fans. So they just they don't care who it is, who you are, what team come. I mean, even when like they play the Cubs, like they're the most bitter rival. Like if a Cubs player makes a great play, they're gonna. I mean, they'll give him a standing ovation. Like they are just truly all about seeing um, pure, awesome, good baseball. And so like that fan base, they get it.
Yeah.
They know the sport, they know the game. They're well educated in that sense. Not a whole lot of heckling going on. Like I said, as far as I could tell, because I was a home player there, but just one of the fan bases that really kind of knew ball, and and wanted to just see good games.
Um, I know that there's a lockout probably coming. What do you
Yeah.
think about the salary floor and salary cap?
So I don't, I don't love the I don't love the term of salary cap. Um, I'm all for players getting paid as much as they can while they're playing. Um, but I also think that there is, or there was a big opportunity missed um, by the players and by the league uh, to take care of the majority of the league. And so they did a good job of getting rookies paid more, right? When they renegotiated the salary for rookies, raising the league minimum, and obviously the guys at the top end, they're always gonna get their money. The
Mm-hmm.
Shoheis and the Trouts and the Scherzers and those guys are always gonna get their money. But I actually listened to an interview the other day, a little clip from A Rod talking about the same topic, where he was like, Shohei, instead of making 70 million, if he makes 64 million, like he's not going to care,
Yeah.
right? You take that money and you disperse it more to the meat and bones of the league. Like, and again, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I had an argument out there, when I was playing. It was like, the player that is kind of the grinder, the utility guy, the relief pitcher, the guys that are filling most of your rosters. 80% of the league per se. You've got your top end guys, you've got your rookies, and then you've got the meat and bones. Instead of kind of squeezing out the meat and bones and bottlenecking those guys, it would have been nice to have dispersed more funds and more money to that larger group of player. That used to be the case, and then it just the game changed, economics changed, and people want younger stars and younger players, and I understand if, like I said, if you're going to pay young guys more, you got to weed out somewhere.
Right.
I think all of these teams, I know all of these teams have the ability to spend more than what they do. I mean, obviously the top end teams, they're spending the money, right? But there are a lot of teams throughout the league that could definitely spend more, have more money to sign good players, and I would just hope and wish that somehow the league and the players can negotiate a way to make it more advantageous for everybody to get on the field, because a lockout kills the game.
Right. It does.
A lockout is the worst thing, and at the end of the day, if you have owners that don't care about that and all they care about is, making money, I understand that's a part of that's a part of their business. But if you don't care about the game of baseball, get out,
Right.
Sell the team. Right. And same thing, with the players. It's like, at some point you have to understand that you have to get on the field, and that doesn't mean you make concessions and give up all your rights. But, at the end of the day, getting on the field and playing the game and having the game is the best thing for everybody. Like I said, I hope that we can at least draw closer to a solution rather than kind of stay on this course of, almost doom, baseball doom. You can
I mean,
say
no baseball for a year. All the new fans, they're just you're probably just getting rid of them for years. Like, they're not gonna have baseball to watch next year, so it's not in their head. They're not gonna be watching the next season.
Well, it's such a long period of time. It's literally the entirety of March until November, right? Like, that is the meat and bones of your year. What are you going to watch on 4th of July?
Right.
What are you going to, it's one of those things. It's like baseball plays the sport itself. It may not be the most popular anymore. It's not. I mean, obviously football in this country has taken over, and I mean, I'm a massive football fan, but baseball just it just, I mean, it is the greatest pastime.
Mm-hmm.
It's what everyone, even if you don't necessarily watch a game, you know how to play.
Mm-hmm.
You go out in the backyard, you play with your kids. It feels like an American thing, and to lose that over the course of a year or however long, you lose the ability to watch these young, awesome, like generational talents that are coming up. Like, we've got a fresh batch of guys in the league that are really good. They're going to carry the game a long way. It's just, like I said, it would just be devastating if you lost all that.
Yeah, like throughout the summer, if you want to watch sports, you can almost every day there's a baseball game on. I mean, if you want to watch baseball, there is a baseball game on every day if you want to watch any team. But when baseball's not on, like, you piecemeal together hockey games, basketball games, football games. You have to piece it all together to watch sports every day. It's
right. NBA's out of season. NFL's not kicked off yet. College football's not kicked off yet.
Right. In the summer, yeah.
What are you gonna do? Golf. I mean, and that's maybe a lot of people go and watch PGA Tour, and that's great. But, like, I think for the majority of fans and people in this country, it would be a disaster if we lost baseball.
Back to the not utility player, but like middle of the lineup. The casual fan's probably not going to know their exact stats. Like, oh, I know him. What's his name? I don't know. But, like, for example, Romy Gonzalez. I don't think he's that type of player, but just for example.
Sure.
People don't give them enough credit. They are what makes a team go to the World Series. It's not like, oh, Rafael Devers on the Red Sox, just for example. He's good, but you need like 4 or 5 Romy Gonzalez's to go to the World Series because they're what makes the team consistent. Because some people are going to have a bad game. You need people that are going to be consistent all the time.
Yeah, and just guys that can fill roles.
Mm-hmm.
We had that a lot in the pitching staff. I mean, that was my role a lot. I wasn't a closer. I had some opportunities to do that, but for the most part, I pitched anywhere within the game, and I was available majority of the nights that we played. And so, like, same thing, utility guys, they don't get the luxury of starting. They don't get the luxury and the comfortability of starting, the stability of being in a starting role. That's the toughest part, right? Showing up to the yard going, dang, like, I know I'm not starting today, but like I might need to come in and pinch hit off of the closer, or
Mm-hmm.
I might have to come into a big spot and pinch run, or going for defense and make a big play. Like, they're counted on just like a starter,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't get the stability that starters earn, that they do. But like, those guys are so important, and that goes back to like my salary answer, where it's like, I would love to see those guys taken care of more, because they do provide so much value, especially if you have experience, doing that. You're a 3, 4, 5, 6 year vet
Mm-hmm.
doing that type of job. Um, the experience that you obtain doing that is invaluable to me. It's like you need that on your team.
And it makes sense because they can support them more. Like, I know people are going to come at me for this, but like, the WNBA has its place. It's great basketball to watch, but the money's just not there yet.
Right.
Keyword yet. I mean, it will come, but with baseball, the money's already there. It's just they need to allocate the money properly. I don't think that they're getting paid nearly enough.
Right. I think and to your point, yeah, right. Like, people might hear that and go like, "What do you like? What do you mean? Like,
Right.
Shohei's making 700 million?" Well, yeah, that's one player. Your roster is 26 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, going back to my answer. It's like, I wish the meat and bones got a little bit more of the pie.
Yeah.
You know
Do you think
that.
they need to? I honestly don't know how the minor leagues are organized and how they manage pay there. They've got to get paid more money. It's almost unlivable. Like,
Yeah.
I go watch AA baseball. I look up online while I'm watching the game how much they make. Like, on average,
Yeah.
the most money a guy is making, they're still just barely getting by.
Yeah. It's not great. Uh, and it was even worse when I was coming up. But again, now with how the economy is and how expensive everything is, I really do feel for the guys that are in those scenarios. You're, you know, it's funny because I don't regret, or I don't think ill of any of the minor league stories I have. I actually love them
Mm-hmm.
because it made reaching the big leagues that much more um, amazing. But like, yeah, there's a lot of stories of guys, four or five guys packed into a 1 bedroom apartment, or
Mm-hmm.
packed into a 2 bedroom apartment, and you know you're everyone's carpooling to the game. It's everyone's in one guy's truck, and there's 7 bags of equipment and stuff. Like, there are a lot of those stories. You're living in you know not the nicest of areas, or not the nicest of places, and you're still expected to go perform at the highest of levels. You don't have the access to high level nutrition. um, that now some organizations are better at that now.
Right.
That has become a big change, where organizations top down will provide, obviously, really good options and things for players. But like, back when I played in the minor leagues, it was like, game ended. There was a bucket of, just a bucket of random fruit. There was a, there was a, there was one loaf of bread. There was, one pack of cheese, one pack of ham, one pack of turkey. And it was like, a bottle of mayonnaise, a bottle of mustard, um, make a sandwich, grab a piece of fruit, see ya. Like, and like rinse and repeat. There's, peanut butter and jelly. It was like my first like 2 years in the minor leagues. It was like I lived off just peanut butter and jellies.
Yeah.
Peanut butter and honey, peanut butter and banana. Like, great. I mean, look, hey, great food, but like, I'm not asking for filet mignon, but it's like that's all we had. And then whenever you get paid after taxes, I mean, you're praying that you can cover rent.
Right. Yeah.
So again, I know wages have gone up and they're trending in the right direction for the minor league guys, but still there needs to be a lot more work done there to make sure that those guys can support themselves.
I go and watch those games, whether it's AAA, AA. Not that I'm going to say the wrong word here, all I can think of. I almost have more respect for them than when I go watch an MLB game, because they're getting paid almost nothing, and they're playing just as hard. Not as talented, because it's just a fact. They're not as talented, some of them. But
yeah,
they're working just as hard, and they're not getting paid anything almost. It's
a grind. It's the ugly side of the business.
Yeah,
for sure. Now, obviously, as a player and somebody who went through it, that it drove me. It pushed me. I was lucky enough to come from I certainly wouldn't say wealthy family, but we were doing fine. So like, even though I wasn't making a whole lot, I still had my parents' house to come back and live at and things like that. But a lot of people don't have that. So yes, there is an aspect of motivation, motivational piece to it, but I definitely think we could help these guys out a little bit more, make their lives a little bit easier.
Yeah. So I forgot to ask you this. I wanted to ask you this earlier. In 2022, when you were playing with the Giants,
yeah,
you had a behind the back, like you snagged the ball behind you. Was that on purpose?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I know it was on
purpose.
Did you put your glove there? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you think you were gonna catch it at that time? Did you? Oh, well, all right. There we go.
Yeah, I simply did it out of necessity. I was falling off the other way, and I was like, dude, I'm not giving up a hit. I got to do whatever I can, try and snag this thing. Sure enough, glove ran away.
I kind of noticed in the video, you kind of hesitated for like a split second, and then you did it.
Yeah.
Were you thinking of, oh geez, I got to do this?
No, it was certainly not like a pre-thought, like, oh, I'm gonna, this is my MLB Street, trick play type thing. No, I simply just reacted on, oh crap, I don't want to give up another hit. So I was like, I got to do whatever I can to make a play, and luckily that's a pretty good one to have on the highlight reel.
Sorry, it's kind of like rapid fire questions, but
no, you're right, good. Good.
Who was one player that I'm sure this is a common question, but who wasn't, and some casual baseball fan probably wouldn't know who they are. You could not strike them out at all. You had such a hard time pitching against them.
Oh man. Well, I've got one that everyone will know. Ryan Braun. I could not get Ryan Braun out to save my life.
Look up the stats real quick.
I want to say there was a point in his career, my career, where, like, I think he was like 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 with like 3 homers or 4 homers, a double, a single. Like, it took me like let's see, I faced him first in 2015. And then I think the first time I ever struck him out was in like 2018 or 2019. So it took me like 3 years to get the guy out.
Oh my
It was like,
goodness.
yeah, it was insane. Yeah, I could not, for the life of me, get him out.
How were you on? You had to play off. You were, yeah, you had to do offense, or
I never got an at bat.
Really?
I never got one. I got one in the minor leagues. I got one in AAA.
Oh man.
I spot started a game in AAA in Memphis, Tennessee, and yeah, I got the opportunity to hit, and I got in the box. Big Latino guy on the mound for the Brewers, and I'm like, oh God, I'm like, this guy's gonna throw 115. He's gonna hit me directly in the ear hole. Like I haven't had an at bat since high school.
I'm gonna find this video and then overlay it on this right
now. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Will play. Ramon, 2 steals on the year. He's been caught once. 2 runs across in the inning for the Redbirds. It's a 3-2 Memphis lead. That's going to get a run in. The only play is to first. Leone hustling, thrown out by a step. He'll get an RBI and a 4-2 Redbirds lead.
But I'm like, oh God, he's going to throw so hard. And I look up at the scoreboard and he's like 90. I was like, I can handle that. So he throws me first pitch fastball. And then he goes like slider. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I rolled over. I think we had like first and third. I grounded out to shortstop, got a fielder's choice and RBI. And that was it. That was my hitting. That was my hitting career.
Do you wish you were able to hit more? Did you like hitting?
I do. I loved hitting. Yeah, I was a catcher primarily all throughout high school. I played center field. I played short. I played third. I played all over the place. And I had a couple small schools offer me to do like a 2-way deal. But I loved the offensive side of the game as well. That would have been fun to do that more at a higher level. But nowadays I look at it and I'm like, dude, I don't want to hit.
Yeah. I mean,
these guys, they throw too hard, man, and everything moves.
It's not just one person throwing 100 miles an hour. It's
everybody.
A lot of people throwing 100 miles an hour.
It's everybody. Mm-hmm. And now there are things that move, 24 inches across the plate at 100 miles per hour. Like it's just insane. I don't want any part of it.
Did you use any waste pitches?
Waste pitches, meaning
you throw high and then just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do you think of those? Like, what? I know some people don't really care for them. They want every pitch to be a strike or whatever. But
I think it's a very important part of pitching. Mm-hmm. It's a massive. Like every at bat is its own story. Mm-hmm. And you've got to set people up. You've got to, do things. You got to throw people off, right? You got to jab. You got to jab here and hook here. Like it's a little song and dance every time you face a guy. Yeah. And so yeah, you got a guy 0-2. It's all hitter dependent, but it's like you got a guy 0-2. Yeah, you have an option. You can waste one. Try and get a chase or go right at him and see, kind of go mano a mano here. But no, there's always a little bit of that deception that you have to go and use. I think that's a massive part of pitching and being successful.
I know your career didn't end the way you probably would have wanted it to end, but I was listening to a podcast recently and they said, when you think about retirement for the first time, you're probably going to retire like a year. Like I'm not going to name them because they don't,
yeah, sure.
You think about it for the first time. Normally you retire like a year later. For the first time you seriously think about it. Had you thought about retirement at all?
I did actually. I got beat up in that 2023 season. I finished with the Mariners, and I was horrible. I was terrible with the Mariners. I think I gave up, like as a reliever, I gave up like 16 home runs in 2023, and like that's an astronomically large amount.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, man, something is just not like, maybe I just don't have it anymore.
Oh
And
wait,
I
no,
actually,
it's 13. You were overestimating. You weren't. Yeah,
okay,
not that bad.
there you go. So, well, it's still a lot for a
No,
reliever, still
yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
But so I remember we finished the final game of the season in Seattle, and that's where I had started my career. So, like, I don't know, I kind of got hit with a bunch of emotions, and I stayed out on the field, um, and like was like grabbing the dirt and just like looking around the stadium. It was like, man, like this might be it. I went into that off season and I was really unsure about what I wanted to do. Um, and just, I was 30, I think I just turned 32. So I was like, dude, I was like, I can't be done. Like I cannot be done. I have one more shot, right? At least
Mm-hmm.
keep going, right? So I did. I motivated myself, kept going, and then honestly, like I felt great going into that 2024 season with the White Sox, and felt strong, felt good. And then it was like once I got hurt in May, and like I realized that it might be something pretty serious. Like when I thought it was like elbow, like
Yeah.
I had never, knock on wood, I had never had that type of injury. I lucked out. I was, literally my entire career, I was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I felt the elbow, and I was like, oh, I was like, this isn't good. And so it started to kind of creep in that like between the market, in which I was trying to compete with players and get signed and get contracts, my age, what it would require for me to come back from, a Tommy John type scenario. Um, I just, it started to creep in that like, if this is Tommy John and if this is serious, I've had a good run, but I think it's time. And
So
that's ultimately what happened.
I imagine it's probably one of the most difficult things in the world to transfer away from playing in the MLB to doing. I mean, not saying nothing, but essentially nothing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
How did you deal with that?
It was tough. It was really tough. A lot of dark days, a lot of anxiety, a lot of a lot of emotion. I would be lying if I said I still didn't struggle with it a little bit. I got to come back to family, to my kids, to my wife. So obviously that part is easy, but then
Mm-hmm.
it's like you get the whole new job of full-time dad, and being full-time parent and being around that and all the things that brings. And then yeah, you realize that like, hey, even though I had a great career and I made some good money, and I was smart with my money, it's like still I'm not in a position where I can just retire and do nothing the rest of my life. I have to do something. So
Right.
um, you're trying to find that next thing. We're still in the process of that. I just knew that you know, I mastered. I've got a PhD in baseball,
Yeah.
and wanted to share that and bring that to the next generation, because I do feel like there's a need for some old school type methods, some teachings, bring the game back to kind of the way it used to be.
It reflects in your career that you prioritized strength in your throwing. Like the ligaments in your elbow and your arm, you wanted everything super strong. Like there are people, like
Yeah,
for example, Walker Bueller. He's had like I think 3 Tommy John surgeries or something. It's something
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, wild.
It's a rare thing if you don't have Tommy John. Like Garrett Crochet has already had a Tommy John surgery, and he's like 3 years
Yep,
into his career.
yep. And that dude is as strong as an ox. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he is a complete and utter beast. But yeah, and that's the thing. It's like and it's not like I was, throwing 89. Like I was still throwing high
Right.
velocities.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just again I made sure, and I was lucky that my mechanics were dialed in and they fit my body. I think a lot of people that throw as hard as they do and throw with some kind of funky mechanics, yes, it might be deceptive, but it's not healthy long term. I'm not saying that there's one specific way to throw or pitch a baseball, but for me, I was lucky enough to kind of have that perfect mix of solid mechanics and arm strength.
Yeah. Like Aroldis Chapman. He's
Yeah.
been pitching forever, and he's never needed a Tommy John surgery. It's actually kind of
Again,
crazy.
Another complete and utter beast. I mean, that guy is a refrigerator. He is massive.
He is like one of the, easy for me to say, because obviously I'm not in the MLB, but if I were on the field when Aroldis Chapman is walking out, I don't know what I do. He's just so cool.
Yeah, he's. I remember playing catch on the other side of the field at Yankee Stadium when Aroldis Chapman and Dellin Betances. I don't know if you remember that name. Dellin Betances was another 6'8" monster, really good pitcher for the Yankees. They were playing catch together, and it was like two skyscrapers throwing the ball back and forth. And I was like, dude, I don't fit here. Like, I don't. Thank God I'm on the other side of the field. These guys are different.
Yeah. I was watching some spring training games, and I can't remember who said it, but he's like, "Oh yeah, so I wake up, during explaining his routine on a typical game day.
Yeah.
I wake up, I go downstairs in the hotel lobby, get some coffee, breakfast. I'm heading to the gym. It's like 6 o'clock when I leave. I see Aroldis Chapman walking in a gray tank top, soaked in sweat, and then he goes out later and does a second workout before the game.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an animal.
That's crazy.
He takes care of his body. He does things the right way. So
I've seen a lot of people say like, "Oh, steroids," and if he's been in the league this long and he's obviously that
hasn't been caught,
right.
I mean,
it's very unlikely.
More power to him, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. How? Very good question that I just thought of. What is the PED testing? What does that look like? Like, is it completely random when they give you the tests?
It is completely random, and you don't know when they're coming. You don't know. Typically, it's before games, but sometimes it can be after games. Blood tests, urine tests. You do on every spring training, at least one. There's multiple during spring training. I mean, you're getting tested the majority of the year. I mean, there are guys that have, they get tested every time. There are guys that might only get one or two tests because it is completely random. But yeah, it's a very serious process. They take it seriously. Off seasons, you get tested. I can't tell you how many off seasons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how many off seasons I've been on a vacation or something, and they call and they say, "Hey, we've got to send a tester to you. Where are you?" Blah, blah, blah. It's a real thing.
That's nice that they do that though. Like, all right, you have to come back here when you're in the middle of it. That's
well,
nice that
no,
they
seriously.
Do that.
If there is not a tester within a certain area of wherever you are, you have to return to your home address that's listed. Like the most recent one, I was on a family vacation in the mountains in Tennessee, and I got a phone call. Hey, you've got a drug test. Like, where are you? And I was like, I'm like, I'm up the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay. You'll have to report back at your address in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Or it's viewed as a failed test.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
If you fail to complete the test, it's a failure. It's a you don't pass. So
continue.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No. So yeah, it's kind of annoying, but luckily they called back and they were like, "Hey, we've got a guy that's like an hour and a half away. He can be there tomorrow at such and such time." And I'm like, "Sure, like, that's fine. Like, good. Now I don't have to travel, 7 hours back to my house to
Yeah.
just pee in a cup,
It's almost like, why can't I just go meet the guy? If he's closer, can I just go meet the guy that does the testing? I don't want to have to drive even further. That just
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but they're on top of it. They're keep trying to keep our game clean. So,
oh,
it is what it is.
what do you think about the gambling that's going on? All these scandals, betting on sports, and
So, look, I do March Madness. I do fantasy football. But when I saw that there was going to be live gambling available at stadiums, and the whole thing with that, I just there's no way it was going to work out and be clean, right?
right.
It's going to cause a lot of issues. Um, from a player standpoint, right? The first thing I thought of was, okay, so I go into a game and somebody bets 10 grand that I strike the first guy out, and I don't. Um, and my family's at the game, and it's pretty well known, like, where the family sections are, where the family section meets, where people are, like the fans can kind of put two and two together, right? So if I lose him,
Right.
10 grand, and that's like his last 10 grand in his bank account, and now his life is in shambles, just because I didn't strike out, whatever, like, and now he's got access to me, my family, like, anything is possible,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
In this crazy world, man, anything is possible. So that's where I didn't like it. I didn't love the idea of it. And then, the scenario of the players that were gambling, it's stupidity.
It really is. They make
It's stupidity.
yeah.
You
People are
know,
like, "Oh, they make enough money. Why are they gambling?" It's not about that, I don't think. They just love, like, it's an addiction.
yeah, there's an addict piece to it, but it's also like, what bothers me the most is, it jeopardizes the integrity of the game. You know, you're, you know, if I'm a starting pitcher and, like, I need one more win to get some sort of incentive bonus, and we bring in a closer who is, betting on himself to, throw balls or whatever, and we end up losing the game, that's like, that's taking, money out of my pocket, that's taking food off my table, and, I don't like any of it. I think it was dumb. I think it was stupid. I think, unfortunate mistakes by those guys that were caught doing it, and I just, the whole gambling side of things, it has no place, especially when it jeopardizes the integrity of the game and everybody else around you.
Yeah. I honestly think gambling jeopardizes the integrity of the game more than steroid use. It turns me off more to a sport, whether it's
To a
NHL
to a
and
certain degree,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
To a certain degree, you're right.
the only reason I say that is because I think it's ridiculous that some people aren't in the Hall of Fame because of whatever reason, with, like, PED use, and
Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
yeah. Like, you look at, yeah, you can obviously make the argument that, like, you look at Barry Bonds and whatever the allegations and things are against Barry, um, the stats are insane. Um, like
Yep.
it'd be one thing if he was, like, mediocre and then, allegations, and then was a, MVP, but it was like, dude, I mean, he was amazing for the longevity of his career. And also, again, well, another thing that's forgotten is steroids were not illegal
Really?
during a portion
Hmm.
of the early 90s, 80s, 90s. They weren't tested. It wasn't written in. So, it was a part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, obviously addressed by the commissioner, and became a thing, and became something they wanted to get out of the game, and understandably so. I mean, I get it, but, like, it's hard to penalize a guy for something that was like, well, it was technically legal. It wasn't necessarily illegal to
Right.
do these things. So I don't know. It's a big controversy within the game. Obviously, it'll never go away, but it does stink to see some of the greatest players ever to play the game not represented in the hall.
You mentioned Barry Bonds. I am not saying anything about how he interacts with fans. There are bad stories, but I've never met him, so you can't really go off that. Don't even have to name names. Was there anybody you could just please don't name names because I know you're not going to. Was there anybody you could just not stand being around?
I think I had two players ever in my career, in the big leagues that I just genuinely didn't want to be around them.
What would you be comfortable naming the teams so people can speculate about it? And you won't you won't have
look,
to say.
I played for 10 different teams. You'll have to go on that wild goose chase if you're really interested. But no, really, literally 99.9% of the people that I came across in the league, whether I just met them, played with them, played against them, are great. They're great people, man. They're hardworking people, and they're good. Good individuals. Like I said, there was probably two that I was like, nah.
Yeah. I feel like the difficulty of getting to the MLB filters out most people like that.
Yeah, and honestly, at that point too, it's like if you've got ego or if you got issue, and you're kind of an asshole, you just get ignored. So like there may have been people that weren't great, that I was around, but I just didn't even notice because I'm like I'm not putting up with that type of stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't even, if you just don't even acknowledge it, it's not really a problem. But,
right. Right.
Yeah, I don't. There were so many like youth sports. It's so bad now. Like the parents are forcing their kids to play like 4 different sports. Put them in a whole bunch of sports to see what they like, and then don't force them if they don't want to.
Right. You can't. Yeah. You can encourage, but you cannot force.
Yeah, like I see people like online. They're like, "Oh yeah, my son, he would have gone pro if he didn't have this bad coach." And I played hockey and baseball from the majority of my childhood, and
yeah,
it's not.
Right.
A bad coach isn't going to stop you from getting to the MLB or the NHL or NFL. You move.
Yeah.
It's just like you said. It's if they're not great to be around, ignore them. Keep doing what you're doing, and then if you want to move teams, move teams. It's not gonna. If you really have that drive, I don't think that's gonna stop you at all.
Right. Yeah.
What is your favorite baseball memory all time? Could be from when you were a kid or in the MLB.
Ooh. 04 World Series.
Yeah.
That was pretty special. The 3-1 comeback against the Yankees was pretty incredible. It's funny, I watched that documentary on Netflix. I think it's called like the 4 Days in October.
Yeah, I think I've seen that too.
So I watched it with my wife, I think last year, and I'm like calling things that are going to happen, and like reciting it to this day. Like I remember Bill Miller's single up the middle off Mariano Rivera that scored Dave Roberts, and like I called it, and my wife's like, "How do you remember this, but you don't remember like to fold the laundry?" And I'm like, I just that's just how my brain works. Like I remember, Keith Folk getting the last out of the World Series, like the comebacker, boom, flip, and that might have been was that 04 or 07 against Colorado?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because 04 was it was because I think it was also it was 04 in St. Louis. just stuff like that. Like the Red Sox memories were great. Like that's what I grew up, as a kid. I remember going to games and, I remember some of those games. But personally, in my career, I remember my debut, and then I remember closing out the NL West in 2021. That was probably the biggest moment that I had in my career. That was kind of noteworthy.
Do you remember most of your games? Like, if you were to watch a game you pitched back, it's not like you could recite exactly what happened the entire game, but as you're watching it, you can think like 3 or 4 steps ahead. Is that how your brain works or no?
Yeah, I probably could. I mean, I also threw in like
No, yeah, I know.
430 games.
Yeah.
Some of them I could. Yeah, some of them for sure. I could go, oh yeah, I know exactly what happens here. I give him a walk off, or or hey, I punch this guy out right here.
I had actually, funny enough, I had a history of baseball class in high school,
Yeah.
and my teacher, you could ask him literally any question. He could name every world baseball the championships. He could name every winner, the entire, like, since it started.
Wow.
And you just
Holy
say
moly.
it wasn't in a row. You could ask a specific year, and he would pick it out.
Wow,
it's crazy.
That's impressive.
You could do
That's
it with
impressive.
NHL, NFL, golf. He could do it
Really?
with everything. I have no idea.
Whoa.
I tried, like, everybody had left to go to lunch, and I sat there. I asked him, I was like, I'm not joking. How does your brain, like, I'm not even being silly. How does your brain work? This is, I can't think of, that's, I don't know how
wild.
people have brains like that. Like, they can remember, like, some goalies, they remember everything. It's crazy.
No, I can't. That's wild.
I don't know how you'd have enough, like, what is it, bandwidth? How do you remember all?
Yeah, right.
My bank isn't that big upstairs. All right. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time. This was
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course. I'm glad we got it done. I'm glad we could talk a little bit about everything. It was good. It was very, very good, very fun.
I thought that would be a good thing, talk about a little bit more than baseball, because baseball podcast, it's a little bit, you kind of just let the conversation go where it wants to go.
Yeah, dive into excuse me. Would you dive into a little bit of the outside stuff, like the stuff that people don't necessarily know?
Right.
That's always good. It's captivating. People will be interested. So it's good.
Right.
It's fun.
Well, thank you. We should do this again sometime in the future if you're open to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But
definitely.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Like I said, I'm glad we got it done. We'll talk soon.
See you later.
See you, man.